starseed from Gaia. Something in you just cracked open, and it did not happen by accident. Not the video algorithm, not luck, not coincidence. A seal that has sat over a very old part of you finally gave way, and whatever is rising up through that opening right now cannot be pushed back down again. You did not find this transmission tonight. It found you, the way a key eventually finds the one lock it was cut for. I am bringing this through exactly as it arrived, and I want to be honest with you before we go further. What follows is not simply encouragement, it is closer to a signal, carried in language because language is the container available to me, but meant to land somewhere underneath the words themselves. There is a specific reason this power waited until tonight to stir in you, and there is a specific thing standing between where you are right now and fully carrying it. Both will become clear before this transmission ends. I am Selenia, emissary of the Pleiadian High Council, and I have been asked to carry this transmission directly into your field. We come to you as representatives of a council that has watched this planet turn for longer than your history has language to describe. We do not ask for your belief. We ask only for your stillness, long enough to notice whether these words land as foreign information or as something closer to a memory surfacing. Understand this plainly, awakened one. What we are naming today was never absent from you. It was sealed deliberately, the way a vault is sealed, not to punish the one it belongs to, but to protect what is inside until the world outside was ready to receive it without distorting it. That readiness has arrived, not because of anything dramatic occurring in your outer circumstances, but because of a quieter threshold being crossed across your entire species, one nervous system at a time. So let us name plainly what has been sealed, because vague language has kept too many of you circling this truth without ever landing on it. Before you took this body, you carried a working knowledge of realities that operate on principles your current world has not yet rediscovered. Harmony instead of extraction, resonance instead of force, memory instead of invention. That knowledge did not evaporate the moment you were born. It was compressed, folded down into a form small enough to survive the density of this world, and stored. It has been waiting inside you this entire time, not as a myth you were told, but as an actual structure within your own being, patient, intact, and complete. We are not describing a metaphor tonight, beloved one. We are describing an architecture. Your body is not only flesh arranged by biology, it is also a vessel holding something considerably older than the years you have counted since your birth. And what broke open tonight is the seal that has kept that vessel from being accessed before you were ready to hold what pours out of it. If this is landing somewhere true in you right now, tell me in the comments the very first word that came to mind when you read the phrase, "The seal has broken." The Council wants this understood without confusion. Nothing was stolen from you. Nothing was withheld out of cruelty. A container that opens before its contents are ready to be handled responsibly does more harm than good, both to the one carrying it and to the world receiving whatever spills out. The waiting was never a punishment. It was a form of protection, extended to you by the same intelligence now telling you the waiting is finally complete. Many of you have quietly resented the forgetting, the sense of arriving here stripped of memory, having to rebuild from nothing what you once knew completely. We ask you to consider it differently tonight. A soul who arrives already remembering everything anchors nothing. Knowledge that costs you nothing to receive rarely becomes structural in you. It stays information, decorative, easily lost the moment life grows difficult. But knowledge you have had to search for, ache for, doubt and question, and slowly rebuild piece by piece, that knowledge roots itself into the architecture of who you are in a way nothing handed to you freely ever could. This is why the forgetting was part of the design rather than a flaw in it. The searching itself was doing work. Every year you spent wondering why you felt out of place here. Every night you lay awake trying to name a longing you could not locate on any map. That searching was not wasted wandering. It was the exact mechanism widening you enough to eventually hold what is returning to you now. You were never meant to remain in that forgetting forever, but you were also never meant to skip it. The Council is precise about this distinction, because so many spiritual teachings blur it into something closer to failure. There was no failure in your forgetting, there was only timing, and the timing has now arrived. Consider what happens to a river forced underground for a long stretch of its course. It does not disappear. It carves, quietly and out of sight. Channels far deeper than it could have carved, running openly across flat ground the whole time. When it finally surfaces again, it does so through passages shaped by everything it moved through in the dark. Your forgetting worked the same way. What returns to you now does not return to the surface you left behind. It returns through a channel your own searching, carved, deeper and more precisely yours than anything you could have inherited without the years underground. There is a phrase moving quietly through the starseed community that sounds humble but functions as a cage. I'm not ready yet. I need more healing first. I'll step forward once things settle. You have likely said some version of this to yourself more than once, and it probably felt responsible each time you said it. We tell you clearly tonight, beloved one, that phrase was rarely yours to begin with. It was absorbed, most often from a moment when your fuller expression made someone nearby uncomfortable, and you learned, quickly and without ever deciding to, that shrinking kept the room calm. Over time, that shrinking got mistaken for wisdom, and the mistake became a habit so old, it now sounds like your own voice. This is not humility. This is an inherited pattern, wearing humility's clothing, and it has cost more starseeds their timing than almost anything else on this path. Patience, real patience, does not feel like permanent postponement. It feels like steady movement at a pace that still counts as movement. If your version of not yet has lasted years without ever becoming now, it was never patience. It was fear, dressed carefully enough to avoid your own suspicion. If this describes something you have been quietly telling yourself, tell me below the exact sentence you have used most often to delay your own becoming. Some of you have spent your whole life feeling like a visitor in rooms everyone else seemed to move through with ease. We want to offer you a different reading of that discomfort tonight, because the one you have been carrying has cost you dearly. You do not feel out of place here because something is wrong with you. You feel out of place because you are holding a frequency this particular timeline has not finished learning how to accommodate. The friction you feel in ordinary rooms, the exhaustion after small talk that leaves others energized, the grief for a home you cannot point to on any map, these are not evidence of malfunction. They are evidence of range. Think of your nervous system as an instrument tuned to notes most rooms are not yet playing. Of course, it aches in spaces built for a narrower scale. That ache was never proof you belong somewhere else entirely. It is proof that you are here to widen what this particular room is capable of holding, and widening a room from the inside is uncomfortable work by its very nature. This is also why you were given exactly the wounds and gifts you carry, no more and no fewer. Your specific sensitivity, your specific inability to accept things at face value, your specific difficulty performing a smallness that never fit you. These were not obstacles placed between you and your purpose. They were the instruments your purpose required, matched precisely to the frequency you came here to hold steady. Notice too how often this discomfort shows up, not in your hardest moments, but in your most ordinary ones. A gathering that should feel easy leaves you strangely depleted. A conversation everyone else seems satisfied by leaves you quietly unsatisfied, sensing something unsaid beneath the surface that no one else in the room seemed to register. This is not oversensitivity to be managed away. It is a wider bandwidth of perception doing exactly what it was built to do, picking up signal that the room's ordinary settings were never designed to carry. Something has shifted recently, not only in individual souls, but across the collective field itself. The synchronicities many of you have noticed lately are not decoration. They are structural. The waking at unusual hours, the dreams built from geometry rather than story, the sudden pull towards certain people or places with a certainty that bypasses ordinary reasoning. These are the visible edges of a much larger activation currently moving through your species. You are not imagining the acceleration, beloved one. What used to arrive as a flicker is beginning to hold steady. What used to require deliberate effort to access is beginning to arrive on its own, unbidden, at moments that surprise you. Your own system is coming online, not gradually in the abstract sense you have heard before, but specifically this season, in ways your body has almost certainly already registered before your mind caught up to name it. If you have felt this quickening in your own life recently, tell me below the strangest small synchronicity you have noticed in just the last few weeks. There is a particular texture to this acceleration worth naming carefully, because it is easy to miss if you are expecting something loud. It rarely arrives as spectacle. It arrives as a growing steadiness underneath ordinary days, a sense that the ground beneath your usual routines has quietly firmed up, even while nothing on the surface looks different yet. Trust this steadiness rather than waiting for a dramatic sign to validate it. The most significant activations rarely announce themselves loudly. They simply become the new baseline you eventually notice you have been standing on for weeks. Before you close this transmission, we offer you something simple to carry into sleep tonight. Place your hand over the center of your chest, and without performing the words for anyone, without needing them to sound a particular way, simply say them as true. I remember what I carry. I no longer require permission to hold it. I release the habit of shrinking to keep a room comfortable at my own expense. Say it plainly, the way you would say something you already know, rather than something you are hoping to convince yourself of. You have waited long enough to finally mean it. Whatever language you use to hold what was shared tonight, starseed, science, spirit, story, or simply a feeling you cannot yet fully explain, the invitation underneath all of it remains the same. Stop asking a world that has not finished catching up to you for permission to be fully who you already are. If something in tonight's words opened a door you had not looked at in a long while, you do not need to walk through it publicly or all at once. You only need to stop pretending the door was never there. The Patreon community gathered around this channel exists for exactly this kind of quiet, private reckoning, and it will be there whenever you are ready to bring your questions into it. There is no deadline attached to any of what was shared tonight, whatever the urgency of the language may have suggested. A seal, once broken, does not need to be rushed through all at once. It simply needs to be lived with, a little more each day, until what was sealed becomes as ordinary to you as breathing. That is the actual pace of this work, however dramatic its opening moment may have felt. Until the next transmission finds you, stay rooted, stay unguarded where it is safe to be, and carry what you remembered tonight without apology.